Hi, it's Emily Vesseland, editor-in-chief of the Zing Report and senior content editor for Jewelers Mutual. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We have two very smart, accomplished women in conversation today for the Zing Zoom. Melissa Magsaysay, who's a longtime style and lifestyle journalist. She writes for the Business of Fashion, the Zing Report. She writes for the Chicago Tribune, Los Angeles Times, Women's Wear Daily, many others. She's in conversation with one of her favorite jewelers, one of many people's favorite jewelers, Maya Brenner, who also lives in Los Angeles. And the two of them jumped on the Zoom and had a great and interesting conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Everywhere we look, our world is changing faster than ever. But the change was always coming. While disruption is never easy, legacy is born from challenge, and hope flows from the connection with our customers, the strength of our communities, and the love of our family and friends. Jewelry is the thing that brings us all together, marking our milestones, lifting our hearts, and reminding us why we do this. 'Cause it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that zing.
That's why Jewelers Mutual launched the Zing platform, the easy-to-use, one-stop shop to navigate our changing industry. With fast and free access to best-in-breed services, solutions, industry tools, and information, the Zing platform is an all-in-one platform to connect, explore, and discover. For everyone in our industry, it's the jewelry marketplace for today and tomorrow.
And the Zing platform offers something for everyone. Transparent access to a world-class diamond marketplace. A simple step-by-step appraisal engine tapping GemWorld's deep expertise, as well as a place to find fast, secure, and cost-effective shipping solutions. What's more, it makes completing everyday tasks easy.
When the world zags, we zing. At Jewelers Mutual, we've been doing this for over 100 years, and we're just getting started. Harness the power of the industry and unlock your potential. All you gotta do is zing.
Hi, Maya. How are you?
Melissa, I'm good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for doing this Zing Zoom with me. I love getting to chat with you all the time. Obviously, we're both here in LA. And I just have a few questions for you about your business, the state of the industry, where you are with everything right now. So you've been a jewelry designer. You've had your brand for over 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah,
right?
almost 25. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. What would you say, because you've seen a lot of the ebbs and flows, not just of jewelry as a jewelry maker, as an artisan, but also, like we were saying, through the proliferation of social media and all the ways that kind of marketing a brand in general can take a founder. What would you say have been like the top three takeaways for you over the past 25 years of having a jewelry brand?
Well, I think that, I started when I was, 28 years old, and now I'm 52. And, I didn't really know anything about jewelry. I just knew that I loved it. And I wanted to wear lots of jewels that I couldn't afford when I was working in New York. And I was a social worker at the time. I had a full-time job. Yeah, I moved to New York for graduate school and went into the social work field, and then made jewelry at night to kind of calm my nerves down from my hectic and stressful job. And I still use it to this day, kind of like that. It's a real like retreat and a real focus for me, just in terms of like what I want to wear, which is the same as I was doing, back then.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed so much. When we used to think about exposure and press, I used to set up a conference table in New York at lunchtime, or I would do flea markets. And that was how like you got your name out there. And now you just, take a picture and
Right.
you post it. But for me, I think the biggest takeaway, and the thing that I still do, is it's pretty like authentic to me. My growth has been very organic. I've never had any investors. I've really only grown at the pace that my company was able to afford. Around 2008, I went from doing like primarily wholesale and doing trade shows to not, is because, you know, stores weren't paying us. There was a recession. My daughter was just born. So it was kind of personal and financial. And things just came together. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to work to grow my own brand at my own pace. Like, I don't want shows. I don't want to have a showroom or a, you know, a sales rep that's sort of telling me or dictating when I design, how I design, what my price points need to be. And so I went from that grind, really just designing at my own pace whenever I felt like releasing new stuff. And it's been like that since 2008.
That's incredible. And I was going to say, as you were talking, wow, could a brand do that in this day and age? Like with this breakneck speed of newness and marketing and all that. But then I kind of answered my own question as you were talking, like, and maybe you'd agree that it's yes, because of social media, you can really be pushing everything out and not have to be on this like show schedule and sales rep schedule and all of that if you're not tethered to so much wholesale.
Exactly. And I always thought that it was strange that jewelry was sort of expected to go on the same lines as clothing. Like, what is spring jewelry, you know, as opposed to fall jewelry? You know, it's
right.
like, you know,
Right.
a wool coat, you know,
Right.
is a
It's
gold
perennial.
necklace. Yeah.
Right.
And so that was always strange to me. Obviously, you know, back in the days when I was beading and putting out a lot of like stone colors, you know, the choices for fall and spring would be very different.
Sure.
But I never liked going at that pace. It makes sense for me creatively. And it was a lot. I just felt like I was kind of on this like hamster wheel of, like, as soon as I finished the designs and got them to the show, I would have to start all over again.
Sure. Well, clearly that's resonated with your customer base, because from your letter charms to the chains and just your charms in general, everything has been authentically kind of marketed as the things you wear every day that you never take off, that you just keep layering on top, your heart pendants. And that is truly how you wear jewelry. I mean, this was before it was a trend, obviously. And it's not a trend, it's just a category, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
I was, you know, sort of the famous story is that I was looking for a new mommy necklace when I had kids, and just wasn't really responding to the, you know, the jewelry that I saw out there. And so decided to create something that was, you know, asymmetrical and really delicate, something that you never had to take off, almost just like a little wink, wink, nod, nod, like a little letter at the collarbone that sometimes you couldn't even see.
right.
I think that was kind of like my style as a mom. I wasn't going to be just this, like, all of a sudden from one day to the next, just like, hey, you know, I'm a mom.
Giant nameplate,
yes,
like
exactly.
a license plate.
I wanted something a little more subtle that still resonated with me. And so when we first created it, people didn't really get it. They didn't like the asymmetrical style. They wanted something in the middle and kind of more traditional. And so I would say it took like at least a couple of years for people to catch on. And then of course, like once it caught on, people really, really loved it. And then we had to figure out, okay, so we just make single letter necklaces. How do we turn this into something that can grow with you? And that has been, you know, the biggest challenge, is kind of figuring out how you make a necklace that you're able to add to, and how do you streamline that process, and how, you know, there's so many different moving parts that we changed over the years to get it to a place where now, you know, you order a new charm online, you get a ship kit that gets sent to you. you place your necklace, you know, back in the ship kit. It sends back to us. There's an order number. We follow your necklace. We add the letter. We clean it, and like there's all kinds of different things you can do to your necklace, like when you send it back to us. I always think about that scene in Wizard of Oz, you know, when they get there and they're just being like primped and
Yeah,
made
yeah,
brand new
yeah,
and better.
yeah.
Kind of like what we do with the necklaces. You know, you send it back and we can shorten it if the chain has stretched. We can fix any knots or, you know, clean out any debris, and then you get this brand new necklace shipped back to you.
With a new addition on
Yes.
it. It's not always a child, the arrival of a new child, but I'm guessing most cases it is. And so what started, as you say, that as something that took a little while to catch on, and of course there's a lot of heavy lifting on your end with the logistics, seems like kind of this really nice return. You get this beautiful new necklace. You're really adding it on. You're not adding on a whole other necklace. Like, here's my M, here's my C, here's my, which is fine too, but you know, it really is this great necklace that you're just adding on to as you're building your family, in whatever way that looks. I think
Exactly.
people
Yeah,
must really enjoy that process.
I would say it's amazing for them, and the only downside is that they don't like to be without their necklace for
Oh,
that
well,
period
that's
of
not a
time.
bad problem
Yeah, I would
to
say.
have. And do you find that customization in jewelry, you know, it's always been a huge deal to people. Obviously, people don't want to have the same thing as everyone else, but especially with the jewelry that people kind of have from the brands that you wear every day, um you don't ever take off, you just add to. Do you think the customization is still a really attractive point of
Oh,
difference
yeah.
and an offering?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's probably, you know, any two necklaces that are, you know, exactly alike, except for maybe like the super popular letters. If people have, you know, two or three of the same, there's so many different combinations. And I think that was also one of the lessons that I learned, is that instead of putting out so many brand new things every year, to really focus on what is working
Mm,
for the brand and what are our best sellers, and how can we focus on that and make that so much better.
mm,
So you know, we started with one letter, and then we're able to do two, and then three, and then four, and then five, and now we're up to, I mean, we've done up to 19 letters on
wow.
one lucky grandma. Yeah, she had a lot of kids and
Oh.
grandkids. But not just doing letters, but then adding birthstones. And
Mm,
then not just adding birthstones, but then saying, oh, well, you know what? Let's add pave letters.
mm-hmm,
And now, you know, with this new campaign that we did, and adding 8 new charms to the
mm-hmm,
piece, and really trying to take it from being the mommy necklace to
mm,
like the anyone necklace, any
right,
woman. Tell your
right,
story in any way that you want, whether
right.
it's who you are, what you've been through, where you
Sure.
want to go.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's kind of the lesson that I learned, is instead of being on that hamster wheel and trying to come
Mm,
up with something new every spring and fall, I really kind of just took a step back and focused on the things that were working in
mm,
my line, and just created from there.
mm.
If that makes sense.
Such an important lesson. As we said, it's so easy to get swayed literally by the shiny objects
Yeah.
pinging you
Yeah.
across social media, or you know, what celebrities are loving. What is that? What would you say to a designer or a brand starting out today? Do you think that, you know, just kind of building and seeing something through, or when are those moments that it's important to try? Rubies are trending. Everybody's obsessed with emeralds. It's all about super chunky, the nameplate's back. Like, when do you think it's right to flex a little bit in terms of what's happening in the zeitgeist and with trends?
Yeah. I mean, I think if it's authentic to your brand and your style and your customer, it's always nice to kind of go for it a little bit. You know, as long as your brand can afford it. You know what I mean? And you're not going to, invest everything in something that you don't know is a sure thing. But I think just as long as you really like stay focused on what your style is and like what you are trying to put out there to your customer, I think veering off a little bit is fine. I mean, I've done that in collaborations with other women and entrepreneurs, and like that's the area that I really sort of allow myself to to do things and create things that I wouldn't normally just under the Maya Brenner label. So sometimes I think it's nice to, do something kind of, out of your lane, but maybe just have it be like a smaller kind of design to see how it goes first before, you completely go in like a different direction.
Right. True. And you've done a lot of great collaborations.
It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Well, you have such a tight-knit community, particularly here in Los Angeles. And I find that that's a big part of also what is an attractive point of your brand and business. It's really clear. I mean, I know you are very supportive of other, especially female founders, and have been before female founder was like a hashtag and a thing, and there was events around it. I mean, you've always done that. So I think that really comes through in your collaborations. It's such like an authentic expression of support for other female founded brands. And as that has become something that I think the customer has thought more, particularly when it comes to jewelry, that seems to really be working in your favor.
Yeah, and it's also really fun to have another creative mind, especially because this is my company and I'm the sole designer. It's nice to like work with someone and go, oh my gosh, yeah, look at that turquoise on that earring, and really get excited. And all of those collaborations have come really organically too, just like kind of everything else with my company. Meeting at a dinner, and talking about something and getting, ideas bouncing off of each other. The Ally Webb one came from, her having like multiple piercings and her saying, I don't want to take off all my earrings every night. What can we design to make comfortable so that I can just sleep in my earrings? I'm like too busy to take 5 earrings out a night. And so, we were inspired by that. And I'm actually wearing a little sneak peek now of a crystal necklace that Abigail Spencer and I are coming out with early next year.
I saw that crystal. It's so pretty, layered with your heart necklace.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, my final question is there, in the arc of your career so far, which has been very prolific, is there a piece that you haven't yet designed that may be a little out of your comfort zone that you kind of dream about?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first piece in something that I've kind of been thinking about for a while. This is called the Retreat necklace. And it's something I think that is so important in terms of like meaningful spirituality, keeping yourself grounded, what's important to you. And again, it's because I went on a retreat and had like a really life-changing moment, and Abigail and I experienced that together, and we both goals, so that so the things that I like to do are and like to wear for myself are a little bit edgier sometimes, and also a little bit more of like a one-of-a-kind feel, which is not something that's so easy to do when you're trying to, appeal to lots of people. Like one-of-a-kind things just don't really work. So I've had this idea for a while that like I want to create pieces that feel like treasures and feel like one-of-a-kind pieces. And the first one would be, like this crystal. And so I'm still kind of like formulating it and putting it together, but it's all these pieces that feel like found objects, that you would just they all feel one of a kind.
Okay.
And yeah, like treasures. That's kind of
Ooh,
like what I'm working on, like a little small capsule collection of pieces.
exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little edgier, a little different, but still all stuff that you could layer with your letter necklace, but might be just a little surprising in terms of like what the design might hold.
Exciting. Well, it continues, it evolves your story authentically. So that's what I always love about what you do. There's all these, we're so multifaceted and dynamic as women, as founders, and as creative individuals, and you do such a beautiful job expressing that in pieces that again can be worn every day, are comfortable enough to sleep in, shower in, have your toddler tug at. And so thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me on the Zing Zoom today. And I can't wait to see this found objects collection
Oh
of
yeah,
treasures.
I'll keep you posted. You're the first to know. I haven't talked about it
Ooh,
yet, so.
perfect.
Well,
I'm
thank you
so
so much for having
honored for the sneak
me.
peek.
Yes, exactly. You got the scoop.
I got the scoop. Well, thank you so much again, Maya.
It was lovely chatting with you.